say that women are better drivers than men. I agree with this for some people, but for me, I know very well that men are much better drivers than I am. So, growing up, I learned that I need to do things for myself and not have other people do it for me. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of difficulty learning how to drive. So when I was little, my parents really didn't like me driving anything because I was their little girl and they didn't want me growing up. I was their first child. So my brother would drive me everywhere. And I didn't care because it was more fun when he was driving and I was just in the passenger side driving around. He would drive me in our little Jeep or the Gator or go-karts or just anything. He would drive me. But there was a reason for my parents not letting me drive. There was this weekend at Katie Isabel's house. I was about 8 years old and we were driving her golf cart around and she was driving, and since I never got to drive anything, I was really excited when she asked me if I would want to drive. So I was just driving around and I was so happy, and then we started going downhill and her brakes didn't work very well, and I was going and we were trying to get it to stop and we were both screaming, but then it did stop right when I crashed it into her dad's truck. And I just started crying and Katie ran off in the other direction because she was scared her dad was going to freak out on her. But he was standing over by the house and he watched the whole thing happen and he just thought it was the funniest thing ever. I was still freaking out, but I find it really funny today. But then there's this time this summer, my parents were okay with me doing driver's ed and everything, but they weren't too happy about the school permit thing because I'd be by myself driving, and since we live out in the country it's kind of a long drive. But this summer my dad said if I clean out the car then I could get my school permit. And this was his farm car, so it was nasty. There was all of his gross clothes and then these bottles, and oh, it was just so gross, and then there was dirt everywhere. But it took me all day. I got up at 6 o'clock, and then by 4 o'clock I had everything ready and came in, talked to Mr. Davis, and had everything set up. So then my dad had this idea that when I went to go get my school permit, I could drive myself with him in it. So when I was cleaning my car, it was up, parked by our shop. It's this huge garage, and then it's where we park our tractors. So there's this ramp so that the tractors can go up and then into it. And I had my car parked on that little ramp. And my dad is in the passenger seat, and my mom is messing with the radio. And I go in to get my purse so I can pay for my school permit. And when I come back, the radio was on, and it's oh, okay, let's go. And so I put it in reverse, and I get to where I needed to go. I put it in drive, and I'm pushing on the gas, and it's not doing anything. And I was Dad, why isn't it going? And he just looks at me like I'm the most stupidest person in the whole world, and he's did you even start the car? So my mom just turned it halfway so just the radio was on, and I thought that she started the car for me, but she didn't. And since I was up on the ramp, I could reverse to where I needed to go. And then once I put it in drive, I couldn't go any farther. I don't know if my dad felt so safe driving all the way to town with me after that, but it was okay. But I got my school permit, and I've been driving to school ever since, and nothing bad has happened really.
Yeah.
Yet. But, so what I've learned is that you need to learn how to do things for yourself and not let your brother or sister drive you around everywhere, because it could turn out your parents laugh at you every time you get in the car. So all you guys can learn is just learn to do things for yourself.
All right.